Speaking more to the specific upgrades you need to take, we have local builders and energy experts here with us today, as well as a representative of LADWP's Home LA Electrification Incentive Program. So with that, I'm excited to introduce our panelists, Justin Skaggs with Decision Construction, I'm so sorry, Abulebdeh, I'm so sorry, you're gonna have to say it yourself. With Mega Solar, who is one of our vetted solar installers at Resilient Palisades. And moderating this panel is Anita with Simply Solar, another one of our vetted solar installers. Finally, we have Maychelle with LADWP's Home LA program, who I'm so thankful for being here and for LADWP helping sponsor this incredible event. We also have Kent from Cosmic Buildings, a local prefab modular organization. So with that, Anita, do you want to grab that microphone right down there? Yeah, you can use that one. Yes.
Voila. Let's see it.
So with that, I'll hand it over to our panelists. Again, thank you guys for coming and doing this with us. Looking forward to the conversation.
Yes.
Great. All right. Thank you very much for being here today, guys. To start with, I'd like to kind of go around and give everybody a chance to introduce themselves. If you could just describe your work in helping homeowners electrify and rebuild resiliently. We'll start with Mo.
Sounds great. Thank you. Hey, everybody. I'm Mo. I run Mega Solar. And for the past decade or so, we've been helping homeowners and businesses switch to renewable energy through solar, storage, and EV charging. Our mission is really simple. We want to make it easy to switch to alternative energy or to switch to solar. And we do that by listening first, understanding what the true needs are, and building solutions that really help keep the power on when it matters most. The second thing we like to do is collaborate with other industry professionals, such as my colleagues here today. And also, we are beginning to utilize tools such as AI to solve some of the micro problems we have in the industry that directly affect homeowners. So that's what we do in a nutshell, and I'm excited to be here.
Great, thank you. Justin?
All right. Hi, I'm Justin Skaggs from Decision Construction. I'm a dry utility consultant. We act as an owner's representative for all size of projects in all Southern California jurisdictions, basically from entitlement through your design, through your construction, each of the steps for getting your building energized and designed. So for single family homes, it's pretty straightforward normally pre-fire, where you're either going to connect to the pole or you're going to connect to the underground that's there. This is a unique situation with a lot of the neighborhoods gone, that we have an opportunity where if we can get 100% block-wide participation, we can actually get the power lines and the utility or telecom companies underground and get those poles removed. So it takes a lot of coordination, and we have focused heavily on Altadena and Pacific Palisades, just helping the builders and the homeowners know what steps they need to take. So it's a big task, and we're excited to be here and help.
Absolutely, thank you, Justin. Maychelle, and I am so honored to have someone here from Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, so thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much. My name is Maychelle. I manage our commercial as well as our new construction incentive programs at LADWP. And so I'm here to help us get back home and build back better through our incentives. So we know that always makes it easier, and so we want to do that for our community.
Hi, I'm Kent Newmark, and I'm with Cosmic Buildings, and we're hoping to build those all-electric homes. So we are a design build firm. We will sit down, custom design your home with you, but we also use prefab techniques to help lower the costs and increase the efficiency of the build.
Great, thank you very much, guys. So to get into our questions, The first question that we had here was, for homeowners considering going all electric, what is the single most important first step? And we really wanted to hear specifically from Justin and Maychelle on this question.
First thing is the money, right? Where are we going to get that funding from to pay for it? And so I think we all believe this, that it's a lot better when somebody else is paying for it. And so that's what we're here for. Make sure you seek out all the funding that's available. This is a big endeavor, and the costs are a lot. I've rebuilt my home, and I know. And so any funding that's available to you, make sure you take advantage of it. You don't want to leave any money on the table at all.
I just from as a builder perspective, an assessment of load capacity, what you actually will need as you are just operating your house day to day, I think is vitally important as just one of the first steps. But yes, cost is definitely, I would put one step above that.
One thing I'd like to add too is normally in a single family home, people aren't really engaged with an electrical engineer for their design. A lot of people, like 99% of the people building, have not gone through the process of building a home before. So money is always the biggest consideration before they even bring on an architect or before they bring on a builder. So I would encourage them definitely to go take advantage of the incentives with DWP and have that conversation early, and just, there's a lot going on in everyone's lives and with the insurance, and just knowing that money is out there to incentives, it's going to help people a lot, make them feel a lot better. So send them to DWP or send them to SCE if they're building in Altadena.
Absolutely, and Justin, if I could just kind of tee onto that, how should homeowners go about choosing contractors with expertise in all electric? Because I know that we're saying reference the utilities, but somebody has to build this thing. So how should a homeowner go about identifying a contractor?
That's a really good question. Well, there are a lot of local contractors and contractors like Cosmic that are very aware of the process. One thing I do see is the solar kind of conversation is happening after they've started construction. So I think the education needs to go to the builders that are the most prevalent ones. So we go around and we look at all the signs of who's building. It looks like Cosmic has a bunch of signs. There's other companies that are, building a whole lot. I would ask for recommendations, like, talk to DWP, like who is building, who is knowledgeable, and then talk to these other trade people. So
Maybe you might.
Yeah, Mo, if you could chime in on that as well.
So I know DWP, other utilities have what they call marketplaces, and in those marketplaces, they have recommendations for contractors of different trade types. So homeowners looking for those people can definitely go to the utilities. Those are usually kind of a place where there's a lot of resources. Another simple way is honestly do a Google search. Look in your area. Look on home websites, places like Yelp and such. I'm sure you'll find quite a few people. Yeah.
Great. To add to that?
It's a good, yeah, well, I wanted to clarify, because we're a government agency, we're not allowed to promote any one particular contractor. We have to promote everybody. However, that being said, we do have a lot of partnerships, like with Resilient Palisades, as well as USGBC California. So make sure you take advantage of those partnerships that we have with them. They do have lists of contractors, and they do have recommendations, and they can share with you who they work with and who is doing work in the area. So make sure you take advantage of that resource that's available to you if you're looking for a contractor.
I know I went through this experience, and I'm sure Mo can second that becoming a vetted contractor with Resilient Palisades is a rigorous process. And so I definitely trust Resilient Palisades and their recommendations. This question is for Maychelle, actually. How can homeowners stack incentives to reduce the upfront costs?
Well, it's really great. We have a couple of ways to do it. So for those of you who are rebuilding, one thing is, so just a reminder, Home LA, it's our high performance optimized modern electrification for Los Angeles program. It's a very long name. Home LA is much better. So always just remember Home LA. I'm only going to say that once. This is for the city of Los Angeles. So if you're a Los Angeles Department of Water and Power customer, this is available to you. We have partnered with the state of California's California Electric Homes program. So we are cross-promoting our programs. So that's one program that's available to you if you are considering building all electric. So just be aware of that. You have to, there's no gas hookup allowed, as well as segregated circuits are required. So all of your major systems must be segregated to apply for their incentives. We don't have that requirement with LADWP. However, if you do choose to elect to do that, you'll be able to stack your incentives, stack their incentives with ours, so that's more money available to you. Another thing, this is gonna be the secret sauce. We don't share this a lot, but I need you to know so that you know how to work this system. Our incentive program, we have two pathways. One is the whole home electrification, and the maximum incentive is $10,000. There's another pathway, which is the prescriptive pathway, and that is for equipment alone. The homes in the Palisades area are larger, some are larger. And so for you, if you have multiple equipment that you need to install in your home, that may be something that you want to consider to go through the prescriptive pathway, because that dollar amount can exceed the maximum of the whole home. And if you follow all of those electrification incentives, so if you have 2 air conditioners, which is common, because you might have one for the upstairs, one for the downstairs, you may have 2 water heaters, one for one side of the house, one for another side, you may have another outdoor unit. So if you have those additional needs, considering the prescriptive pathway and getting incentives per equipment, you can exceed that cap. And when you do all of the electrification, so you do all of your interior all electric, including your cooking and your clothes drying, you're eligible for the whole home incentive bonuses. So you don't necessarily need to go through the whole home pathway, but if you do follow the requirements of the whole home, then you can also receive the battery incentive. So a lot of money, and just stop by our table outside. We can walk through your project to see which pathway is best for you.
I was about to ask, is where should homeowners go to find out more about this? So you have a table outside, which people should definitely go to. After today, where should they go to find out more information about this?
Our webpage, www.ladwp.com/HomeLA. There's flyers outside, so stop by and we'll get you one.
I can always respect a simple URL. Yes, I appreciate it.
QR code.
So this question specifically is for Mo. If a homeowner can only implement a few upgrades this year, which give the biggest safety and resilience payoff?
So the way I like to think about this is if you have solar or don't have solar, but if you want to take kind of an immediate step to have protection and resiliency for your home, by far a storage battery is probably the biggest option, because the way that can work is you would connect it to the home as a standalone system and have that charge from the grid and be on standby in case there's an emergency. And with that, you're able to program it, understand how the load's being used, and then from there you can start to add on other options such as solar, EV charging, and other ways to make your home more resilient. So a storage battery would probably be my best recommendation.
Yeah, absolutely, and I've spoken to some homeowners that had fire suppression systems that apparently did not run after they lost utility power, and so I've definitely heard from a number of people about that. Now, Kent, I see a lot of nodding over there, so I was wondering if we could pass it down to Kent and see if you want to chime in as well.
Well, you said it yourself. Yeah. IBHS Plus, they believe in passive home standards, and that's why they adhere to them or recommend them, and that's why insurance companies recommend them and adhere to them. So I think that's an especially important point with the battery system backup, power bank. If you do have a system that does require electricity, that's essential, or else it wouldn't operate as needed.
Hi. Are you talking so we can hear you?
Should I?
That's no.
Much better. I'm sorry about that. Thank you.
So our next question on here is, what challenges or surprises are most common during electrification projects? How can they be avoided is really what everybody wants to know. And so Justin, I was wondering if you could kick us off on this one.
Well, one of the main challenges is people don't know what options they can have before they get their builder on board. Taking the step to call and talk to builders, it's really stressful for people. So knowing the options are available and what's on the table is really good. You could save space on the wall, you could do a lot of things. Yeah, I would just say that's one of the big hurdles is people don't know what to trust and who to talk to. So talking with Maychelle and her groups, and then I would just say another big hurdle for electrification is just really having the meter location on the wall planned out. And I think for electrification, it's really important that we get all the power lines underground so that critical infrastructure and the battery that you were mentioning, so that can be maintained and keep your systems able to work and protect your home. Because when wind-driven events happen, it's a whole lot better and safer and resilient for the town if everything's put underground.
Absolutely, and Mo, I was wondering if you could talk about kind of in-home systems with this note of, what are the most common challenges and how could they be avoided?
So when we take on a project, the first thing we like to address is the consumption or the usage. How much is the home using as far as power? And that will help us properly size systems, and then we can set up storage and other options on top of that. When you start with knowing how much you're using, it's easier to then follow up with other options that you need to kind of complete a whole home setup. Some of the folks that we've worked with recently they came to us with, hey, my home is solar ready, and I'm building, and I need to kind of get solar in here. But the options and the recommendations and the information they were given by the people they were working with was completely not aligned with the way the home is supposed to be set up and how it's going to be used. So we ended up having to go back and kind of reevaluate those options, understand the usage better, and revise those recommendations so that they can have a better setup that's equipped for the home and also future-proof too. That's one thing you want to think about is future-proofing the home or the property, so that in case things change or the lifestyle changes, that can adapt with you as well.
Yeah, so if I could just ask, zooming in on the battery energy storage system, since that's been identified as kind of the #1 thing to consider, at what point should a homeowner be investigating that and planning for that in their construction process?
I would say a conversation about energy or usage or backup should happen as early as possible, because you don't want to be caught with surprises later, and you don't want to plan late and kind of shrink down your options essentially. So always talk about that first, especially now with planned outages, with all the disasters we have in California. It should be #1 on the list when you're having these conversations. You want protection for your home in the overnight hours. You want protection during an emergency. You want to be connected to the world when everything goes out. And that's a very good way to ensure that you're safe and your family's safe. So I would say very early on, always.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've heard this term solar ready often, and it just feels disappointing when you're saying you should be engaging as early as possible.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not their fault. The customers really don't know. The homeowners don't know. And I always tell them, hey, look, connect us with your architect, connect us with your team, whoever's working on this build, and let us work together. Because if they're doing something and we're doing something different, we're not aligned. And a lot of things have to happen at the same time or in parallel so that you can execute and have a finished product in the quickest amount of time. And sometimes that doesn't happen, and we have a lot of delays, and that's unfortunate. But yes, of course, always start early.
I see some other folks eager to chime in, so let's pass it down the line here.
Yeah, I wanted to chime in on the solar ready thing. So I have been a project manager for a general contractor for multifamily mixed use buildings. And one of the constant things is the builders don't know how to actually engage with the solar. So then the builders are just going to go, we'll just leave it solar ready and the property owner can deal with it later. So definitely, maybe if none of you guys are multifamily people, but it needs to be engaged earlier on, and just knowing that fact, talk with your solar people early.
So Cosmic is an end-to-end provider, so we have everything in-house. We sit down with you, custom design your home with you. So we handle everything in-house. But for people that don't have, or aren't using Cosmic, don't have that option, I really cannot stress that enough. The importance of, and it also is important for your budget. I mean, something as simple as how the roof is pitched could be very important for how much, how efficient your solar is going to be. If you need to change that later on down the line, it has downstream effects with living, like your ALE, your ability to use monies for having to use it again for the architect to redesign the pitch of the roof, and then that will cut into your budget for solar or battery. If you want to prioritize it, it has to be kind of first and foremost up top of mind, and finding an expert that knows how important it is to integrate it into the like fundamental design of your home.
And I've definitely seen it happen where solar was planned for, but batteries were not, and the fire codes require clearances for batteries that's different from other equipment. And so I was curious if you guys have been tangled up in this, of the placement of batteries in construction. Has this been a challenge for you?
To clarify, you're saying just battery locations in general? Okay. We just finished a project actually local here that was from ground up, and it was part of the 2019 fire in Malibu. And the location did end up being a problem because the fire department had their own set of rules, the city had their own set of rules, and our plans said something different as well. So to get everybody on the same page, we had to like actually install it and then find out, oh, this is not the right location. We tried to get it resolved earlier. We used the best knowledge we have, but it wasn't too bad. We ended up taking care of it. But definitely, if these things are, I guess that information is collected earlier, you can make better decisions to reduce time, because that project ended up taking an extra month just for that particular step.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to wanting to move back into your home, another month feels like an eternity. Yeah. You know. So can you share lessons learned from Palisades and Altadena projects that could help homeowners avoid mistakes? Now, you mentioned, one in terms of battery placement, but are there other instances that you can speak to where, going through the process of new construction, how could someone, what's an example of a mistake that was made that could have been avoided?
Actually, this home also had other mistakes that were made that could have been avoided. The homeowner was very eager to get into the property, so they ended up doing everything and waited to the last second to want to do solar. And then they were kind of up our backs to get it done before the end of the year because of the tax returns or the tax credits. And as much as we pushed, we couldn't make it, but that's because the client didn't have their inspections ready. They didn't have their, they didn't complete certain steps that we should have been involved with to make sure we kind of finish at the same time. So that's one. The other property, or the one I can think of, is in Altadena, also part of the fire. Same thing, clients came in a little bit later in the process, but we have very little contact with the architectural team, so we don't know what they're up to. And we're just kind of sitting like, when are you gonna jump up and say, hey, we're ready for you now? No, I need to design, I need to plan, permits, I need to interconnect with the utility, I need to tell people what's going on. Like, there's other steps in the process. So yeah, it's just being blindsided or like not aware of what's going on can cause a lot of issues.
The biggest mistake you can make with me is forgetting that I'm here to help pay for the stuff. So please make sure that you apply. That's the biggest, when I hear people, they've completed projects and they never came and talked to me, it's so frustrating because you don't want to leave that money on the table. One thing, you do have up to a year after you purchase your equipment to apply. So you have some time after if you do forget, but don't forget, because I know there's so much going on through the construction that it's easy to get lost, but the money's here for you.
There's definitely a tendency to think, oh, I'll handle that when all this is over, when I have more time. And now it's been more than a year and you've lost your opportunity. And that is really a bummer. Ken, did you want to add to this?
No, I was actually going to mention.
Great, we have some consensus here. Great. So I wanted to kind of move to, I guess, some practical guidance. And that is, how can solar and battery integration enhance resilience? I know it's kind of a popular hot topic to say, go solar, but how can this actually enhance resilience, reduce costs, improve comfort? Why would someone want to do this other than the kind of larger go green concept?
I mean, so I'm actually from the Palisades. My parents did not have solar on, fortunately they just have remediation issues, but they don't have solar on their home. They moved to the valley where there is solar on their home. They paid, and it's the exact same square footage, within 40 feet of the same square footage. They pay less per month in energy costs because of the solar, and that was including during the summer when it was 102, than they did when they were in the Palisades. I mean, the long-term cost saving is remarkable.
Anyone want to chime in?
Also, you got to think about where you live. A lot of times there's either planned outages or just unfortunate events. And with the growing population, there's always going to be issues with electrical systems. So having that protection and peace of mind is just going to feel good to not have to worry about. Like Ken mentioned, we have customers that have experienced issues and didn't realize that they could have avoided so much loss by just starting early and getting stuff done early instead of waiting till the issues happen. So it's the best thing you can do for resiliency. If you want to stay safe, if you want to protect your home, your investment, your family, think about that. There are other options that are, I would say, less of a commitment in terms of cost. We can talk about that too. But at least be in the know what's out there, talk to local people, talk to customers that have had it, understand what's going on there, and then kind of make your own decisions. But resiliency is not a hot topic anymore, or it's not as easy topic anymore. It's something that should be talked about more frequently, and we need to think about that.
So what is one practical step that homeowners could take immediately to start electrifying their home?
Oh, no, you go first.
And this is for everyone, so we'll just pass it down.
Okay.
So one practical step.
So I would say an easy step would be to do an energy audit, understand how the home is consuming power and where it's going, and then thinking about if you want to generate your own power. Do you want to just have storage as a protection? And recently, this has been more popular. Bidirectional charging is a popular thing. I know a lot of people have, the certain EVs have the capacity to power the home in case of an emergency. And it's not as big of a project to implement it into the home as, say, you want to do something from solar and battery and whatnot. It would be an easy first step for some people. Now, of course, that doesn't apply to everyone, but it's becoming more popular. I would say that's one. The second is, if you want to take it a step further, get a storage battery, have it set up as a backup, and then figure out later on what you want to do. Do I want solar? Do I want this? Do I want to back up this part of the home? And you can kind of start to build from there, but at least you have something you can rely on. That's what I would say, or something you can do right away.
I would say immediate step first find out your money, talk to DWP, and then that will get the creative juices flowing. You'll understand what's out there, what's already connected. You don't have to, that should be the first step on your journeys. Talk to DWP. Know what works, what's covered, what's not, so you're not wasting time trying to figure it all out on your own.
I think you being here today is that first step, just educating yourself on what is possible. So we thank you for coming here and learning more. Like they said, we at LADWP, we're not incentivizing LEED or Passive House or any of those certifications. We do recommend that you look into those because they're very educational. You know, I think that's the first thing, is getting your home as lean, as efficient as possible, because we admit there's going to be added load from the electrification, but when you get as lean as possible and then you add self-generation to help with that load, that's going to help you. And then, of course, looking at the incentives so that you know what is possible, what you have available to you to purchase these items. That funding is there for you to take advantage of.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better. Education, I think is key, and that will help you determine many different things, including the design, including the appliances. It will help you know who to choose as a contractor, who to choose as your solar provider. I definitely agree.
So looking ahead, what innovations or trends in electrification or resilient construction excite you the most? So is there something that you're just jazzed about that you see coming down the line?
Well, I mean, I would just say the overall interest that people have in electrifying their home. People are, I know just from my own experience with my parents, you want to rebuild what you had, you want to have what you had, but then, there's and I know many people feel the same way. Then they look at, okay, well, what could I improve? And I think a lot of people are realizing the benefits of electrifying their entire house, including not using a gas stove anymore, using a heat pump. People, at first we were a little, we were wondering if people would come to us because we use heat pumps, we only use electric stoves, we don't use any gas. If people would be turned off by that because they wanted to have what they had. But I think a lot of people are very open to improving their home and electrifying it. So I think overall that's kind of the most exciting part, is that there's real interest, there's real capital being put into this industry.
Exactly. The interest is so important, and we thank you for being here and for learning more, because another aspect of the incentives that we provide is market transformation. So when you have that interest and you purchase this equipment and we're promoting that through helping to pay for that equipment, that encourages our manufacturers and our distributors to create better technology, more efficient technology. And then, of course, that drives the price down. So we thank you for going on this journey with us, and hopefully we'll be able to get more and more better products out there through this.
I think this is great and exciting to see the decisions that people are making when they're coming into whether to go all electric or whether to go gas. It's going to make all the suppliers and manufacturers understand really how to, like, psychologically, what goes into the decision for the homeowner. And it's only going to improve the way the whole market talks about electrification. So, if everyone doesn't go for it, that's what happens, but we all learn from something, and it's going to make the whole industry better.
For me, technology-wise, I would say bidirectional charging is going to be really helpful, especially in a lot of the remote communities that may not be able to get microgrid setups. And microgrids too, like if we're able to put a lot of systems, a lot of homes kind of in sync and help reduce the demand on the grid for certain times, the energy company or the utility can have less work to do in order to keep up with that demand. So it's something that we need to do more of. But yeah, that's what I think, well, that's what excites me this coming year.
Great, absolutely. So we have a few minutes, and so I was curious if anyone here had a specific question that we haven't talked about yet, and you'll have to kind of stand up and holler at us.
Question on the solar panels. If we're rebuilding the fire resistant, are solar panels created like wood material, or are solar panels more fire resistant? Are they fire resistant?
That's a great question. So the question is, if you're rebuilding after a fire, specifically about solar panels, are solar panels fire resistant? Are there particular panels that are better than others in terms of their fire resistance?
That's a really good question. I would say no. And the reason I say that is because I have multiple clients that are in the Palisades and Altadena that we received calls from. My house burned, everything's gone. However, there are some new technologies out there that are starting to do some kind of coating on those panels to offer a little bit of protection, but nothing that's made like a great, frontier or anything like that. So some stuff still being tested, but I would say for majority of products available today, none of them are fire resistant, unfortunately.
Is there any others? One more question? No. Right here in front.
So water and power, now the FT is going towards electric, right? Will you have the capacity to cover all that electricity? Yes.
So the question is, for Department of Water and Power, now that everything is going all electric, are you able to provide that much power?
Yes. Yes, we're working very hard to ensure that we have that service available to you. I don't work for the power system, so I can't share all the details, but I did want to share a few other announcements. I'm sorry I didn't get to include it. Great news. My counterparts in the water conservation group are working with our partner at Metropolitan Water District to offer incentives for water saving devices as well, so you'll be able to get that on top of the electrification incentives. Another thing that I need you to know is our UROC Center, our Center for Service Planning, any customer service issues that you have, they're moving. Tomorrow they're going to be open on Marquez next to the school. So if you're looking for if you have any questions or you need assistance, make sure you stop by there. They will be having a workshop as well on undergrounding. So if you have any questions regarding that, you can stop by our table. You can, if you'd like, you can leave us your contact information, and we can contact you and let you know when those dates for the launches of the new incentives as well as the workshops are coming.
Great. All right, I just want to say a big thank you to all of our panelists today, and thank you to you guys for your interest in electrification. And I hope everyone enjoys the rest of the day.
Thank you.